Hey guys, in today's video, I want to talk about the Carlos Alcaraz comeback. Based on this article, his wrist has healed and
April
he
14th, Barcelona. A second-round match that should have been forgettable. And then, in an instant, it becomes the moment that stops a season cold. Carlos Alcaraz grips his racket, feels something twist and tear deep in his right wrist, and in that single heartbeat, the story of his year changes forever. No one knew it then, but that quiet, painful flinch on a clay court in Spain would silence one of the loudest names in tennis for 4 months. 4 months of empty practice courts, 4 months of a Grand Slam champion watching from the sidelines while the sport he dominates moves on without him. Madrid, gone. Rome, gone. And then the unthinkable Roland Garros, the tournament he had claimed twice in a row, the clay cathedral where he was king, and he is not even there to defend it. Wimbledon follows. Another absence. Another gap in the record books where his name should be. For a player who has built his legend on relentless, fearless tennis, this silence is its own kind of agony. Behind closed doors, a different battle is happening. Not on center court, but in recovery rooms and quiet gyms, where Alcaraz begins the slow, grinding process of coming back. First, there is no racket at all, just stillness, discipline, and a mobilized wrist forced into patience it has never known. Then, tentative movement. Left-handed drills. Small, careful motions designed to keep the body moving while the injury heals beneath the surface. Tenosynovitis. A word most fans had never heard before this year. A deep inflammation in the tendons of his wrist, the kind of injury that has ended seasons and threatened careers for other players before him. Dominic Thiem, Juan Martín del Potro, names that hang in the air as cautionary tales, reminders of how fragile even the greatest talent can be when the body says no. But Alcaraz is still only 23. 7 Grand Slam titles already carved into his young career. And somewhere in that recovery room, a decision is forming, not just to heal, but to return, and to return in a way that matters. Slowly, the updates start to shift. Soft rallies, controlled swings. His team, cautious to the point of obsession, refusing to let ambition outrun biology. Every session measured. Every increase in intensity earned, not assumed. This is not a comeback built on hope. It's one built on discipline, on refusing to let one moment of pain define an entire career. Then, in mid-July, the words tennis fans have been waiting for. A medical exam, a green light from doctors, reports out of Spain describing his wrist as fully healed. And with that, a single word begins to dominate every headline, every conversation, every whispered prediction from analysts and rivals alike. Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Masters, not just any tournament, the exact stage where 1 year earlier Alcaraz stood as champion, extending a winning streak that had rivals questioning whether anyone could stop him. Now it becomes something else entirely. It becomes the proving ground. The one chance to shake off 4 months of rust before the lights of Flushing Meadows come on. And here is where the tension tightens, because nothing about this comeback is guaranteed. His name may appear on tournament entry lists, but that is not a promise. It is a whisper, a hint, a door left slightly open. He skips Montreal. He skips Toronto. Every withdrawal is not hesitation, it's calculation. A team building the narrowest possible runway for their champion to land safely before the biggest tournament of his year. Picture it. Every hit on the practice court now carries weight it never used to. Every rally is a test, not just of skill, but of whether the wrist holds, whether the pain stays away, whether 4 months of silence can be undone in a matter of weeks. There is no safety net here. If Cincinnati goes wrong, there may be no time left to recover before the U.S. Open begins. And he is not stepping back into an empty arena. Waiting for him is Jannik Sinner, a rival who has spent this very season winning almost everything in sight, dominating the ATP Tour, collecting Masters titles, standing at world #1 while Alcaraz has been forced to watch from the shadows. Waiting also is Novak Djokovic, ageless and dangerous, a man who has ended dreams before and shows no sign of stopping now, and Alexander Zverev, hungry, relentless, chasing the one prize that has eluded him, a Grand Slam title, with New York firmly in his sights. This is the gauntlet Alcaraz must walk back into. Not a gentle return, not a soft landing, a collision course with the very best in the world. At the exact moment his own body is still whispering uncertainty. So why risk it? Why not wait, rest fully, arrive at the U.S. Open in perfect condition instead of gambling everything on one tournament in Ohio? Because greatness, real greatness, has never been built on caution alone. Because a champion needs rhythm, needs match play, needs to feel the pressure of a real opponent across the net before facing the brightest lights of the season. Standing still may be safer, but it does not win championships. And so the countdown begins. Practice sessions grow longer. The swings grow freer. The wrist, once fragile, is being tested again and again. Each day, a small verdict on whether this comeback is real. Reports swirl daily. Will he play Cincinnati? Will he withdraw again? Is this finally the moment the wait ends? Nobody, not even his own team, can say for certain until he steps onto that court and swings for real, under real pressure, against a real opponent. Because that is the truth at the heart of this story. This is not just about one tournament. It is about a champion staring down the most uncertain stretch of his career, choosing to walk toward the danger instead of away from it. 4 months of silence, countless questions, one wrist that must hold. And somewhere out there, in the days ahead, Carlos Alcaraz will finally step back onto a competitive court and answer them all. Win or lose, healthy or hurting, one thing is certain: when he does, the entire tennis world will be watching, holding its breath, waiting to see if the king of clay and hard courts alike can rise again before the lights of New York call his name.